It shows recording.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We'll give it a couple more minutes as we let people get in their chairs. There's a few open spots. We'll start a couple minutes past the hour.
Hey, Steve, question for you. Do you have a green screen in back of you for that virtual background?
Do I have a gray screen?
Well, a green screen. I mean, you're really clear, and I know that's one of those virtual backgrounds, but you don't have your head's not disappearing like mine does.
Yeah, no, the green screen. I know that some of the at least employees at Crexi have not been able to switch their green screen on, but you know, I don't want high definition on my face. I get a little sun this weekend. I got to be able to get outside, so maybe that's.
No kidding.
Yeah, I can't use it on mine. Mine's all messed up when I do it.
That's also why I use an external camera, because I don't like my face being like right here.
Yeah, let me back up a little.
You've got all the secrets, so it sounds, you know, for anyone who's joining early on right now, external camera makes it a little better for you. Now that I know that, I might try to get one.
Yeah, good luck on getting a new one. I got one that I'm going to get that has I can be down in the bottom corner. The green screen, it's just my body, and then the backdrop is going to be my slides. That's a Logitech 922, back ordered to like August 30th now. So
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Logitech has some really cool webcams that are good for Zoom, for Teams, GoToWebinar, where you can project whatever you want, different, like a split screen. You can be large. You can have a little small, like graph up in the corner, like if you're using a PowerPoint. So some cool stuff, and that's kind of where we're headed too. You know, I think.
Yeah, that's for sure where we're headed. I might have to get one of those. I should probably place the order soon if it's till August.
Yeah, a lot of them aren't even taking orders right now. You know, this is a 930. It's kind of an old school Logitech, but they just say out of stock, and most of them, they weren't even taking orders.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
I will definitely look into that sooner then.
Yeah,
I'm sure we're going to start to
Probably
see.
should have done that last month.
Continue to evolve over the next handful of months and get more and more creative.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, let's get going here, everybody. A couple minutes past the hour. It looks like we've got a good crowd. A couple people still filling in, but we're almost full. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and welcome all from all around the country for this week's Pro Perspective, the Insider's Guide to All Things CRE. I'm your co-host today, Matt Kors. I'm the regional director here with Crexi, and I've also got my co-host Steve here. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm regional director as well. I'm Matt's sidekick for the day and making sure this doesn't derail. So I appreciate everyone taking the time.
Yeah, and he'll be handling the Q&A. So big thing for everyone to note, and I'll say it one more time before we get moving, but there's a Q&A box and a chat box. So if you do have any questions, we encourage you to ask them frequently. We're going to try to answer them in real time. But if you hit the Q&A box, it's going to pop up. We'll get a little buzzer kind of thing, and we'll try to answer it in real time. The chat box works as well, but the Q&A is a little easier. But let's get moving. So today we're here with Randy Workman, Senior Director at Century 21 Commercial. I'm very excited for today's webinar for a few reasons. We've known Randy and many of his colleagues within the Realogy family for quite some time and really enjoy working with them. Recently, we've announced an affinity partnership with Century 21 Commercial, which basically allows us to work with all their commercial agents on a national basis at a much deeper level. Randy, how are you doing today, sir? Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Great, I'm great. Actually, I'm really good today. I feel kind of recharged. I had a 5-day weekend. Didn't go anywhere. Mowed the lawn twice, I think, but the lawn's looking nice, yard's looking nice. I'm feeling good today. So thanks for having me, man.
Awesome. Absolutely. No, that's great. I enjoyed it the long weekend as well. Didn't go too far, but it was good to just kind of relax a little bit. I'll do a quick intro for you, Randy. So over 30 years experience in leadership and corporate licensing, brand marketing, and business development operations in the franchise licensee business model. Being in Century 21 for over 11 years, he has a specialty in commercial real estate. He currently sits as National Senior Director for Commercial Real Estate for Century 21 Commercial. Main objectives and missions being to engage all C21 affiliates to assist broker owners and agents in generating additional revenue streams for their business. So obviously very important today. Providing sustainability and growth by increasing profit margins to the bottom line. So Randy looks to create business momentum by identifying areas of growth outside of residential real estate, thereby introducing new company-generated dollar programs and other services, with commercial being a big part of those services. Since 2011, Century 21 Commercial has grown to over 950 offices and 2,500 commercial brokers nationwide. Randy, I know you're a very busy man just based on those stats right there. So why don't we get right into it, because I know time is of the essence for you. Again, one last quick thing I'll note: if anyone joined within the past couple of minutes, Q&A box and chat box, please feel free to ask questions throughout. If you hit the Q&A box, we're going to be able to see that in real time, and my trusted sidekick Steve's going to help out with that as they come in. But yeah, so Randy, why don't we just start here? So you're on the business momentum team, 950 plus offices, 2,500 plus brokers. So what time zone does your day start in, and what time zone and what kind of cocktail does it end in?
Well, cocktails usually are at the end of every day. We'll tell you that. I work on Eastern time because that's where the office, Madison office is there, New Jersey. That's where Realogy headquarters is at. So if I work on Eastern time, it keeps me straight. So I'm wired that way. But I'm kind of a 6 in the morning till 6 at night guy. I don't forget about my friends in Hawaii, but they kind of know the difference in time zones. So it gets a little crazy some days.
That I can only imagine. That gets kind of crazy some days. So yeah, talk to us, a little bit about brand, building a brand strategy. So commercial is a large focus then is it to expand into these 950 current offices, or is it more so to look at other offices outside of there and help them as well? Is it kind of a two-prong approach that you focus on?
Yeah, I mean, really, think of it this way, our department is called Business Momentum. So my job is to go into, obviously, Century 21 brokerage, and it's a residential franchise, right? That it's actually built for residential home selling. So we go in and we look at where else they can grow. We want to diversify what I call their real estate portfolio. And so it's like going in and analyzing what they're doing, see what their profit margins are, where they can grow, if it's property management, relocation, or commercial. And if it makes sense, then we introduce those programs to them. So a big portion since 2011, you mentioned that. By the way, you took good notes, buddy. Since 2011, we identified 118 offices that had 5 or more commercial transactions in a 1-year period. So, that was our starting point. At that point, our job was really to go into the current 118 offices and build the resources, tools, programs, partnerships, syndicated listing partnerships as well to help them grow. At that point, we started creating enough resources and tools and going to other brokers. They started saying, hey, how do I get into the commercial real estate space? So then the heavy lifting becomes on our team to get them there if they're not there, try to recruit from outside in, if you will, but then also train their agents so that they won't stumble and fall on their face. Because if they're part of a network, the power of any network is the network. So if the network is failed or is weak, you're not going to gain traction. So at that point, we started really growing. And obviously, you said 900, I think we have 975 offices today.
Wow.
And part of that is brokers actually seeing the need to add commercial real estate to their business portfolio, if you will. So I know that I can tell you this for sure. Every brokerage that adds commercial real estate within their offices, they are growing faster than any of the other ones. And that's part of the attraction to brokers wanting to know more about how to get into commercial.
I see. No, that's pretty impressive then. So back in 2011, it just started by looking at how many commercial transactions were happening. And then from a synergistic side, people are asking how to get into it. So it's like, this makes sense. So why don't we try to start pushing on? That's where the business momentum kind of came in from there.
Right.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. And another question I kind of have off that then from what you're saying, do you see like Century 21 Commercial as kind of a specific niche firm in the industry, if you will? Is that how you kind of describe it in a way?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's funny because when I go, especially when I go to big commercial events, you know, trade shows and expos, you know, I hand them my card and it says Century 21 Commercial, and it's like, oh, wait a second, aren't you guys a residential brand? It's like, yeah, we have been for almost 50 years. And then I have to educate them. And it's kind of perception versus reality. Is like the perception is, we used to call it resi-mercial back in 2011. We are not resi-mercial anymore because we transitioned over, we were transitioning. So it looks a little different from the outside in, if you will. But what people don't realize, we put our pants on the same way you do. You know, any of you guys do. But we have the training, the technology, and technology today is just so much more advanced than it was even 10 years ago. So it allows us to really start getting some traction with our brokers that way.
No, absolutely. I know we've obviously been working with you guys on our commercial platform since we launched, you know, over 5 years ago now. So we've just obviously seen the brand continue to grow and gain momentum from there. And, you know, so I can only imagine how that's looked since 2011. Very cool. Well, speaking of technology, you know, that was kind of the next slide I have here. So obviously a lot of technology and a lot of partners out there, right?
Yeah.
With so many, yeah. And I don't know, you know, if anyone's on from the third party game and they hear that you manage 975 offices, they might try to start calling you after this once they figure that out. But
thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Okay, I'll get out of here.
Yeah. But I mean, that's got to be.
You have a quick question coming in, a live question from Laura, and says, "Do you recommend a CCI designation?" I would think that she maybe means CCIM. So, what are your thoughts on getting that? It says CCI, but I would maybe mean that CCIM.
Yeah,
okay, I just want to confirm. She just
probably fat fingered it like I do. I have fat fingers, so I get it. So at Century 21, we have something called the Advanced Commercial Advisor. It's a training program that's 42 hours. There's 4 different modules, like a transaction module, skill set, financial analysis modules, intro to commercial real estate. After they take that, we encourage all Century 21 commercial brokers that have taken that course to pursue a CCIM designation if it makes sense. Here's what I mean by that. I actually break this down all the time because I have a lot of coaching calls with offices on a daily basis. Over 76% of the commercial real estate professionals out there today do not have a designation. So it depends on where your market is. If you want to be a CCIM, then I would say you're going to get a lot of attraction from investors that, especially the tenant rep type investors, for those types of spaces. But it's one of those things you have to decide what's your market before you decide to spend all that time. That is the hardest designation to get. It takes the most time, and there's a portfolio with it. So you want to make sure if you're going to do that, analyze your market to see if you have and can support, you know, those types of deals.
Thank you, Brandy. Yeah, and as we mentioned before, if anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot them live in the chat box or the Q&A box, and we'll make sure that we get those questions answered for you. But thanks for the question, Laura. She said, and the comment was she works mostly with foreign investors. The side dialogue.
Nice.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, we've got a lot of CCIM folks on the Crexi platform too. That's for sure. Cool. Well, okay. So back to the tech side of things before we're about to hop out of your seat there. So when you guys are like, so yeah, I'm assuming you can get calls for a new one each week, right? And tools that they offer for your firms, etc. How do you go about that? Is it something you roll out, you know, firm or not? I don't like Century 21 commercial wide, or is it something that each office or firm can kind of decide on their own? And that might be a loaded question there. So
no, definitely. There's probably a 2 or 3 part answer to that. So first of all, sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, no, just back on the tech side of things, just evaluating.
Okay.
Yeah, do firms kind of go about it themselves, or you get a call they're doing something and then you roll it out, or is it kind of try to go, you know, top down kind of deal?
It's tough. So we have something called the Commercial Advisory Board, where we meet once a month, And we have brokerages from metro markets, secondary, tertiary markets from all over the country. And this group actually will sit down with us as we uncover, look, we need big data. Who do we go to for big data? Who are you using for big data? So we start there a lot of times because they'll give us that feedback. They're our sounding board, if you will. Then the heavy lifting becomes on our team to go out and contact these companies, start vetting them, talking and discussing about, hey, this is our network, and this is who we are, and this is what we'd like, and we'd like affinity partnerships. The reason those work, by the way, it creates affluence. So as long as there's a win-win on both sides, it's great because it's a cost-effective way, obviously, at no cost, for us to provide all of you, our system members, which we have done recently when we launched the Crexi platform for our commercial brokers. So we rely heavily on them, but then it's kind of a painstaking process sometimes because right now there's so much out there. I won't start naming companies, but so many companies that have a CRM, so many companies that can provide data and comps and things like that. Predictive technology, there's a lot of that coming up now. AI and Internet of Things is going to be the big way of the future. So it is tough, and I do get probably 3 or 4 of those a day. I've got a standard response where I have a signature that when I get it, I send the signature and it politely tells them that we're not looking right now, but please contact me within 6 months or so. So yeah, it's a tough process for us, but also finding the right partners is key. We don't want to have too many partners like we have one CRM partner that we use, we love. We think they're the best in the business. And I can go down the line of all those partners. So we don't want to have it too convoluted, but then we also want all of our system members to have all the right tools or the best tools out there.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks for that answer. So you guys then on the business momentum team, you do the evaluating, you do the whole vetting, evaluating, et cetera. Then once it's been decided that you need to go down that path.
Yeah, and I'll be really honest with you, because Realogy is a fairly good size company. We have 8 different real estate brands, right? They scrutinize it even on the legal side. So it doesn't mean if I decide I want a business partner, all the legal parts have to match up. And by the way, the reason why I kind of hesitated a minute ago is my dogs learned how to open my door. It's like, oh my goodness.
No way.
Yeah, so I gotta put a big blanket over on the door over there. So it's like, oh, here we go. So,
that's too funny.
Yeah, that's part of reality, though, right? That's where we're at today.
That's the new norm.
Ball and throw it around the kitchen for a little bit, or throw it around the house.
I've seen a lot of interesting things on some Zoom calls. You kind of just gotta flow with it now. So there's nothing wrong with the dog hopping in. That's pretty normal, I guess.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Babies in arms.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, I guess on that same thought there, do you in particular see Crexi then help brand your brokers in the commercial real estate space then, being able to offer that to everybody? Do you see that as help there from the tech side?
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, that's why we're business partners, and you guys have been great in getting it ramped up and everything. I mean, let me take a step back. We look at the staple companies that have been around a long time. Obviously, they're the ones that you hear, the good old boys club, they've used them forever, and the new people come in and use them. But then we got the new tech and the disruptors that are out there too. When I actually heard about Crexi, I looked at it more as a disruptor, thinking, okay, they're going to maybe bring the playing field up to being even kill some of these other companies. Since that time, and since I've educated myself, and you guys did a great job of launching to our system members. And by the way, I do get calls probably 2 or 3 times a day about you guys with our system members. We're calling it the Crexi craze because it's driving me crazy, but it's also the Crexi craze.
I love it.
But no, that said though, the thing is cool about the Crexi platform, and I don't mean just plug you guys, but this is why I love Crexi so much. It's kind of a universal flat rate type program that I can take. If I have 100,000 listings or 10 listings, I'm going to get the same treatment. You target the tenants and the buyers. I love that. Everybody's got a profile. I can see who's viewed my property. I can see who's opened my OMs. And so it really does give me the power to proactively go out, as well as, buyers and tenants seeing my properties, email blasted out to them. So we love that part about the exposure. And I knew I was coming on today. So we have this, well, I'll just call it workplace environment where it's like an instant messaging. And I put it out there, say, hey, anybody have any stories about Crexi, driving leads? And there were really short answers. It's like, best lead driven system I've been a part of for years. Stuff like that. So we know it's working. We know if they sign up for the pro plan that it's working. And you guys have been really good to do our office meetings as well. So we appreciate that part.
We appreciate the plug, that's for sure. We really do. And I guess to continue on with that, would you, in the perfect world, would you like to see a universal platform, or do your brokers prefer having, diversify outside of there? With obviously there's a number of them you can list on.
Yeah, that's a hard question because I can't answer. Mm-hmm. I'm not boots on the ground out selling right now.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But I do get feedback. Our advisory board, we've posed this to them a lot. And, a universal platform, if I think I understand your question right, versus diversity. I look at you guys as being something that I can rely on. It's universal, it's transparent. I'm going to give you a point of a company that's transparent. It's called Land Broker Co-op. And I don't mind giving them a plug because I met with about 22 of my competitors in Denver last year in January. And we sat down and talked about how can we be more transparent. And we talked about this co-op. It's a nonprofit org. Everything on there is owned by you if you join the co-op. And so things like that are really what we need in this industry. We need to level the playing field. We need to be more transparent. It's all about the competition. I'd rather take a referral or give a referral to my competitor knowing that they're working with me. And I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but I love the fact that you have a platform that I can rely on. And if I have an average of 150 listings a month as a commercial company, but I've got to choose which of those properties do I want premium. So which of those properties do I want to e-blast out to every investor, buyer, tenant out there? That's a tough call. And if I'm a commercial manager and I've got 150 listings and I got 10 guys under my wing, and they're saying, well, wait a second, this building is a perfect office building for this and this and this reason, I can't tell them no. So that's why I like your platform. It is universal in the sense that I don't have to put discretion on one property. I don't want to have investors saying, how come my property is not moving? Well, I couldn't afford to buy that spot for you. I'm sorry, a premium spot. So I'm not really trying to plug you guys because I've been frustrated with a lot of the other syndicated listing partners we do have. We have quite a few of them. And so it's nice and refreshing to have your platform.
No, we appreciate that. That's for sure. And, today I pulled up the C21 on the sales side. We've got over 3,400 listings today, and I think over 1,000 on the lease side. So on Crexi. So that's, we're very excited to be able to have the partnership going. And obviously, if anyone out there is interested in pro, please feel free to chat us afterwards. We're happy to chat with you about that. No, that's good stuff. And I mean, do you guys see from a branding standpoint, like, does it help having the same distribution as the CBREs, the Cushmans, and the JLL folks? Because we're working with, obviously, it's an open marketplace, which is great. So being that it's open, anyone, as long as you're a broker or an agent on it, can list on here on the for sale, for lease side. The same thing happens on the search side. Anyone can come nationwide. There's no barrier to entry, if you will. You can search without having an account. Do you guys see that as a good thing for your brand too? Then just being able to have the same distribution as the other folks out there.
Oh, always. I mean, if I take it back to what my mom always said, it's be careful who you associate with. I associate with really good people. Like, I will only bring on business partners that are good business partners. And so being and rubbing shoulders and elbows with the CBREs and JLLs and those pure CRE companies, I call them, is always a good thing because the exposure is for all brands. And that's what I would hope would get there with you guys, is that you have all the brands. Look at the value and everybody being on there, because it's good for the business. It's good for commercial real estate.
Yeah, thanks,
Absolutely.
Randy. We have a question coming in. Yeah, my mom always told me you're only as good as the company that you keep, and you make your own luck in life. Those are two things that I learned from her. But there's a question we have. It says, what does KWC have as far as listings locally in Oklahoma and the United States?
That's a really good question, because since I'm not with KW, I couldn't tell you that. But I can tell you that on our website, we do have other properties besides just Century 21. So if I misunderstood that, I apologize, but I don't know anything about KW Commercial in Oklahoma.
Yeah, maybe they meant to say Century 2021, but they put KWC, and now I could see that it probably meant KW Commercial. But yeah, how many listings locally in Oklahoma and maybe United States for C21?
Wow. I mean, I wish I was that good. And I appreciate the question. I can tell you that we average between 25 and 30,000 commercial land listings a month, and we average between 8 and 12,000 commercial listings a month. So just property listings and things like that. As far as Oklahoma, we have a CIN, we call it Commercial Investment Network. I think Matt, you mentioned that at the beginning. And we have a map. And that map actually shows every office placement. And that's the cool thing about it, is if you are part of our system, you can actually use that map, and you can click on that little brand bug, I call it, and it opens up the details, and you can contact that brokerage, and you can ask them.
Yeah, no, that's great. It looks like we've got over 100 commercial sale listings from Century 21 in the greater Oklahoma area right now. So that's there's awesome. one quick shout there for that.
Thank you. That's good information. Thanks.
Do you have a special
very easy?
Do you have a special off-market club? Is another question that came in.
You know, a special off-market club. Actually, Crexi does have that ability. We don't really have anything specific for off-market properties, and so we have to just leave that up to the brokers. But I think Crexi does have a platform that if they don't want to be exposed, they don't need to be. And so it's just setting up that in the profile, if I'm understanding that right.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. And I maybe they were referring for you guys in particular, I'm assuming at Century 21, but we definitely can do that at Crexi for sure, so, if you are on the pro plan.
Right. So what we have for off-market properties is we have our workplace environment, where all of our brokers can share their properties. So they'll share a portfolio or an off-market property or a property that was just listed. That's a great forum to have 2,500 brokers all in one place. The other part too is we have a global referral network that we've launched, and it gives me the ability to go to any office and either pass that referral. Hey, this is in your area. And you can mark it that way too. But the workplace is probably the best place, where you have all of the CIN group, we call them, together, instant message type.
That's cool. That's got to help a lot to get deals moving quickly between the brokerage shops. Well, I know we're coming up on time here. We've been going for a while. I was going to ask any technology decisions you guys have ever regretted in the past that you've just to go back on the tech front real quick.
Oh.
If you don't want to share, completely understand.
No. I will share. I just won't. I'll withhold names to protect the innocent. Well, no. The reason why we've moved to affinity partnerships is when you create affluence between two partners, I want to walk side by side with you, right? If you're walking in front of me all the time because you're more important and you've got bigger things to do or more money to make, I will find that out eventually, that
doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. So I had one instance where we partnered with someone who was very well respected in the industry. And when we did that, we gave them, I want to say, gobs of money as a subsidy to make it more affordable for our system members, and it didn't work out. And so since that time, we have totally shifted everything that we do to find partners like you, partners like, Reese is a brandy partner. They're obviously Moody's Analytics company. Most people know them. Great, good companies are hard to find. And when you do find them, and you walk shoulder to shoulder, then you can get a lot done if you approach it that way.
No, awesome. Yeah, no, we understand that completely. That's for sure. So long-term vision, looking down the road, and I know you don't have a crystal ball, but obviously part of the business momentum team, 975 offices today. what is that? What do you think that looks like? What could that expand to, 2 to 5 or 5+ years down the road?
Well, the goal is to look at every brokerage, and we have some brokerages that are in really small towns, 25, 30,000.
Okay.
So that may not be the best candidate for a commercial office, which is okay. My 10-year goal is to have all 83 countries that we're in, Century 21 is a franchise system, and have a commercial platform. We've launched in Canada, we're in Chile, Argentina, Mexico, and we're actually helping them build their commercial divisions, because this global referral system we have allows me to reach out to Matt if you've got a property, and if you live in Brazil or you live in somewhere in South America, I can do that instantly. So I'm hoping, and this is my goal, 10-year goal, is to have all 83 countries. That's attainable if we work it the right way. And then the other thing I see is it's going to change. I mean, this COVID thing has really taken a lot of people for a turn. We've had to pivot in place as an organization. We've had to help our system members. We're holding a lot of these types of meetings, virtual meetings, on just how to get through it, how to present virtually. That's something I see in the future, no matter what, whether we go back to the norm or not. I do see this as being a launching pad for everyone to be able to present virtually. But that's tough too, because clients, especially new clients, you get to know them on the golf course. You get to know them by going to lunch.
Absolutely.
So the next, I want to say 5 years, AI, artificial intelligence and Internet of Things is going to be a big player, I think, in the tenant industry. That's going to be more digital than ever before, I think. That's probably one change I can forecast. On our side, it's just growing the brand to have the bandwidth, which we think we will, which is, we'll just call it a couple of thousand offices in the next 5 years.
That's
Wow.
awesome. Matt's going to ask if he can be your consultant. He's been to, I think 90% of the countries, or if not all of them, that you just mentioned. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that too, Randy, because we were talking last week. You'd mentioned so you've done a lot of international stuff yourself prior to this life, right? So is that part of what it just kind of makes sense then, right? Just go out there and try to expand it from that angle.
Yeah, and especially since our brand's already established, it makes it that much easier. And yeah, I mean, international, you always be friends with those international players out there, but especially when they're part of our brand. So we're excited about that. And I think that we will absolutely start getting that more and more. Now this has all happened because we're starting to see more virtual meetings. So we're getting together more often.
Yeah, quick side note on that then. Outside of like Zoom, is there anything else that you're seeing in particular, like on the tenant space, or just like going for a property tour and stuff like that? I know you're not necessarily boots on the ground with everything, but anything you guys are hearing just anywhere in the country of what's changing? Of is it all Zoom? Is it FaceTime when you're in an office? People posting videos and stuff like that on the listings and things.
Yeah, I mean, we have Zoom and Teams as part of our corporate platform, right? But Zoom seems to be, the new thing since this whole COVID thing started. We use a platform, and I don't mind sharing it, but it actually sets up property tours where you can set up a property tour. You have a scorecard, and whether you're going with that client or not, you can always be FaceTiming with them. They actually have a map. They drive to it. You set it. They get up to the building. They have a scorecard to rate, the common areas, the parking, everything about the building. They give them a score from 1 to 7. That allows us, the professional, to get that back in after they've viewed 6 properties, and we see the top 2 or 3 to actually do a financial analysis or a demographic analysis, whatever their needs might be. That's something we use. It's actually on the Analyst Pro. I don't know if anybody else has anything like that. We love that one. We have been teaching our brokers and junior brokers, senior brokers, Zoom, GoToWebinar. Teams is probably more for corporate environments. Those are the ones that we like, and trying to educate them in doing those virtual presentations.
Yeah, it seems like it's here to stay, but I agree with you. The golf course or going to lunch or dinner or just being in an office is great, but at the same time, you can cover a lot more ground now. You can be in meeting, especially for you, 975 offices. That's got to be helpful for you. Just instead of having to get on a plane and go everywhere, just, hey, let's just hop on a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting or something like that.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Awesome. Well, a couple other questions I think I'd have just on the long-term vision type thing. Digital and social media. Do you guys see this a lot in what you do? Whether it's, obviously like LinkedIn and Twitter, the popular ones, but even nowadays, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and stuff like that. Is that something that's in every office or just kind of office by office? And do you see that growing as well on the, the long-term plan?
Yeah. And I want to bow my head a little bit and say, we had a Facebook account we set up a few years ago, and about 3 years ago, we moved into what we call Workplace. It's actually a Facebook product. You might want to look into it. It's great for any organization.
Yeah.
It allows, I think we have like 4,000 different accounts within all of our brokerages. Some offices will have their own Facebook. We have a commercial investment network. That's one that we use. The digital and the social is absolutely paramount. I don't have the bandwidth right now. I've actually had some of my marketing team furloughed. And so we're running harder and faster than we've ever run before. And that's always been a goal of getting back up on Facebook. I am on LinkedIn, but setting up a Century 21 commercial LinkedIn. But once we get that back, we definitely are going to go down that path. I think everybody should. Commercial real estate's always lagged behind the social media. And it's very powerful. I can tell you that for a fact because I had, in fact, I've got a great relationship with the social networks guys out of California. So they show a lot of value to it too. So if you're not on it, do it. I think it'd be great for everyone.
Yeah. Let us know if you come out here to meet with those guys. Come give us a visit. And, when you start expanding down south, let us know. Crexi will follow you down to Mexico and South America too. That's for sure.
You got to get there first, guys.
Exactly. Cool. Well, hey, I was going to just ask a couple other questions that I always do because we're coming up on 40 minutes here. So I want to be mindful of everyone's time and your time, Randy. Are you a physical book guy? Are you an audible guy? Do you listen, or is it more podcasts, or what kind of stuff do you like to read, or you're currently reading, or anything along those lines? I'm always curious to know that.
Again, I mean, actually, I'm more of a book guy. Even though I love the social and the digital and the podcast and stuff. When I'm traveling, I'm from airplane to hotel to meetings, so I don't have time. But I'm a book guy. But I can tell you, there's one podcast that I love. And if you're like an entrepreneur, it's How I Built This. It's by Ray Raz.
Guy Raz.
Yeah, Guy Raz. Sorry.
Yep, I know. It's a great podcast.
Oh, it is awesome. I mean, he interviewed recently, listened to DoorDash, and that's a big thing right now. DoorDash, I think, has 35% coverage on restaurants right now for deliveries. And so he interviewed that CEO, and it's kind of interesting to listen of where they started, where they came from, how they came up with the idea. I love that because I love entrepreneurial things. I use ESO in my talk track all the time. ESO is Entrepreneurial Operating System. And I got that from a book I'm currently reading called Traction.
Okay.
And it's meant more for probably a business owner, but you can incorporate that in a sales team or in your own personal life. But it's definitely geared towards real estate. Gino Wickman is the son of Floyd Wickman, kind of a real estate guru. And Traction really is one of those really, really good books if you really want to hunker down and kind of start putting all the check marks of where they need to be, and then you'll take off. I love that book. Another one that a friend of mine, David Horshager, The Trust Edge. That's one that I recommend everybody read because the currency in today's world is trust. And if you don't have trust, it's not going to get you anywhere. You don't always have to be in it for making the dollar. And I know that everybody knows that, but if you have trusted clients that trust you, it's not always about the dollar. It's about providing the information that's going to really help them today that you might make money down the road kind of thing. So that's another one. And then the podcast by Guy. I love that one. That's fun.
Awesome. Well, that's really good stuff. Well, hey, we had a lot of fun. I guess I'll say, is there anything else you wanted to leave us with here, Randy? I don't see any last minute questions coming in, but there's a lot of people on still. So if you have any questions, feel free to.
Another one that came in. Randy, if you have a couple minutes, just one more minute. But we have what books do you recommend for agents transitioning to CRE, would those ones that you just suggested, or the one that you suggested be part of that? But any ones that for people transitioning into the commercial real estate world?
No, I mean, it's more about getting a grip on your business, not letting your business run you, but you running your business. So that's more towards business. It's not really so much real estate, even though it's a real estate guru, I would call it. It's still a great read. If you're getting into commercial real estate, I would either take the CCIM intro course, which is actually a great course. At Century 21, we have called the Introduction to Commercial Real Estate, taught by a professor of practice from Lehigh University. That's a good one. And you could actually go and find Lauren Kimes' book on Amazon. He's got that out there that will help you get started. And then as part of Century 21, once you get past that, we've got this advanced commercial advisor course training too. And we don't charge that, by the way. It's all taught by CCIMs that was developed for us. So a couple of other ones you could go after, maybe the Massimo group. I know Rod Santamassimo personally, and they do a Massimo Minute, but they also have new to the business type folks that he can help guide you to as well. That's one I would look up. They're in Florida, the Massimo group.
Yeah, Massimo's good. I followed their they put out some good content for a while, and I've met Rod a few times myself too. So
yeah,
but yeah, I think that's all I see coming in here. But.
Awesome. Well, this is a lot of fun, Randy. Anything else you want to impart on us?
Make sure when on your follow through that you don't cut across that the ball's going to go to the right. No, actually, no. What I'd like to leave with you guys is in times like now, I went through the 2008, 9, 10, distressed property market. I was part of Century 21 then. It was a rough time. I mean, brokers, there was no inventory. And that's actually when we launched this commercial platform. But these are the times that people remember. So go out there and use some compassion and character and be that person that is kind of like you're putting your arm around somebody to just be there for them. A lot of people are uncertain about what they're doing in today's world where we're going. We all know we're waiting for a vaccine and think we're going to come out of this, and I know we will. But these are the times that people recognize. So just take that to heart, that any of your customers that are out there, anybody that you're working with out there, show some compassion, character, and that's what they're going to remember. Is I remember back in COVID that Matt called me up just to see how I was doing, kind of thing. So give back to the fellow man, give back to the industry. I appreciate you guys letting me come on today, and looking forward to growing like crazy with Crexi.
Awesome, Randy. Hey, I couldn't agree more with those last words there, man. That's said really nicely. Yeah, we know you're busy. You got a lot of stuff going on, so we really appreciate the time today. Looks like that's it from a question standpoint. So yeah, this was great. From myself, Randy, and Steve, we want to thank everybody. And yeah, please join in next week if you see another topic you like as we keep doing these.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Hey, thanks, Crexi team. Appreciate you guys.
All right, take care.
Randy, thanks so much today, sir.
All right. Take care, guys.
Take care.